There comes a moment in a man's life when the world doesn't feel exciting or chaotic anymore. It just feels loud. Too many opinions, too many expectations, too many years of putting himself second because it felt like the right thing to do. But men over 35 know something younger men don't. When life finally quiets down, that's not emptiness. That's your turning point. It's the first moment in years you can sense your own direction again. And in that pause, you begin noticing things you've ignored for years. Your energy, your instincts, your needs, your pace. That's why being single for a while becomes powerful. Not because you shut the world out, but because you let yourself back in. This season gives you something adulthood rarely offers, a clean page. You've lived enough life to know what drains you and what builds you. Now you're ready for a life that actually matches that level of maturity. A chance to rebuild not from pressure, but from a place that finally feels like yours. And the more you step into it, the more you realize you're not starting over. You're finally starting correctly. When a man stops rushing, his life starts working. Most men don't get tired because life is hard. They get tired because life keeps pulling them in 10 directions that don't feel like theirs. For years, you've adapted, adjusted, compromised, carried. Good men do that. Strong men do that. Even you might laugh a little thinking about it. Half your stress wasn't life, it was other people's urgency. A single season shifts that rhythm. Suddenly, you're not racing anyone. You're not living in reaction mode. You wake up and your day is yours. You finally stop living on borrowed urgency. And when a man stops reacting to life and starts owning his tempo, something incredible happens. His mind organizes itself. You feel lighter. Some men hear this line years too late, but hearing it now changes everything. Men your age don't slow down from weakness. You slow down from wisdom. Older men understand this better than anyone. It's the moment you stop firefighting and start building. Try this. Tomorrow morning, don't grab your phone first. Sit for 60 seconds. Let your day start on your terms again. Block 30 minutes this week just for yourself. No tasks, no errands, no screens. Let that half hour exist for you and you alone. Slowing down gives you back your presence, your focus, and your power. And when a man moves with his own rhythm again, he becomes someone unstoppable. Not because he moves fast, but because he moves right. The confidence that comes from being good company to yourself. There's a kind of confidence you can't buy, force, or fake. No one tells men this growing up, but the bravest thing you'll ever do is learn to enjoy your own company. It shows up quietly, usually when a man realizes he doesn't need anyone else to feel complete. You've been needed, pulled, relied on, stretched. You've been the anchor for people who don't even realize it. So when you finally spend time with yourself, truly with yourself, you notice something surprising. You're actually great company. Most men don't realize it until they catch themselves enjoying a quiet breakfast and thinking, why was I rushing all those years? Some men notice it during the simplest moments, eating breakfast alone without rushing, fixing something at home without anyone questioning how they do it. You make decisions without second guessing. You walk through your day without performing. And here's the part many men never realize. The world respects a man who respects his own space. Your presence gets quieter, but stronger. You see it when you walk into a room and people look up, not because you're loud, but because you carry yourself like a man who's been through life and came out sharpened. You don't need to prove anything. The room feels it for you. Most older men learn this after a lifetime of being the one others relied on. Because this version of you stands on self-respect, not performance. You see the same thing in older craftsmen, the tailor who works alone in his shop, The fisherman who knows the sea better than any map. The retired soldier who still wakes early out of discipline, not obligation. Men who learn to stand with themselves long before anyone noticed. Being single for a while doesn't take confidence away. It builds a purer version of it. Confidence without performance. And when a man is comfortable with his own company, he stops chasing the wrong things and starts attracting the right things. And once you feel it, you never want to lose it again. Because this level of confidence is something only a seasoned man can carry. And that's why time alone doesn't make a man smaller. It makes him unmistakably himself. When a man finally puts his energy back where it belongs, there's something powerful that happens when a man spends time on his own. For years, you've given your best hours to responsibilities, people, and situations that pulled more from you than they ever returned. Because you showed up when others didn't. Because that's what dependable men do. But every dependable man eventually reaches the same realization. Your energy isn't gone. It's been scattered. And a single season is the first time in decades you can actually see that clearly. It usually shows up in small moments, when a simple conversation feels heavier than a full day of real work. And somewhere in the middle of all that giving, you stop noticing yourself. That question hits every man at a different age, but the answer is always the same, longer ago than you'd like to admit. And that's why time alone becomes a reset. You start to notice who adds to your life and who quietly takes from it, who leaves you steady and who leaves you unrested, who makes your mind open and who makes your chest tighten. Here's a truth most men don't say out loud. Not every situation that reaches you deserves your strength, and that's when things finally shift. I have a friend in his 50s, calm, reliable, always the guy who gets it done. One day he told me, I realized I wasn't worn out from life. I was worn out from taking responsibility for everyone else's choices. That's why men who spend time single rise differently. Not harder, but sharper. Not busier, but more deliberate. You stop joining arguments you already know lead nowhere. You stop proving your worth to people who can't see it. And yes, some days still feel heavy. That's normal. You're not collapsing, you're recalibrating. And honestly, some days you're not tired. You're just done talking to people who drain your battery by 10 a.m. Here's the funny part, because every man over 40 will understand, most men don't need a life-changing retreat. They just need one Saturday where nobody asks, have you seen my keys? This is where your strength returns, not in an effort, but in choosing your ground. You get stronger by choosing where your strength goes. Tonight, write down 3 situations or people that leave you feeling heavier after helping. Over the next few days, say no to at least one of them and notice how your body responds. And once you do that, something incredible happens. Your days stop feeling heavy. Your decisions stop feeling forced. And your life finally starts moving forward again. Share this message with one man you care about. One conversation can redirect an entire season of his life. The season where a man learns faster than ever. When a man finally has time alone, something surprising happens. He learns faster than he ever did in his 20s or 30s. Not because he's smarter now, but because he finally has the clarity to absorb the truth instead of fighting it. In a single season, your mind shifts in a way younger men can't understand. You no longer study to prove anything. You learn because it sharpens your life. You no longer read to escape, you read to become. The deeper advantage older men carry, everything you learn now goes deeper, settles faster, lasts longer. Learning at this age isn't limited to books or lectures. It shows up in the way you fix something with your hands, the way you master a new skill, the way you return to an old passion you never had time for. Some men learn through woodworking, others through photography, some by cooking, some by picking up a guitar, and many simply by paying attention to life with clearer eyes than before. Learning as an academic, it's the precise sharpening that comes when a man finally has room to grow. Your focus is stronger, your curiosity is cleaner, your discipline is quieter but sharper. And you might laugh, but one small YouTube tutorial suddenly fixes something you ignored for 12 years. You're not trying to impress anyone, you're upgrading yourself from the inside out. You start noticing things others miss, a sentence that hits differently, a lesson that stays with you all week, a truth you used to ignore but now understand instantly. Because when a man is single for a while, learning stops being a task. It becomes a transformation. Books don't just inform you, they rebuild you. Conversations don't just entertain you, they refine you. And solitude doesn't just steady you, it teaches you. It's funny. Most men chase mentors, but in this season, you realize the mentor you needed was your own attention all along. This is the chapter where wisdom finally sticks, because for the first time in years, your mind has room to grow. The freedom to walk the world on your own terms. There's a certain kind of freedom a man only feels when he travels alone. When you're on your own schedule, you finally notice how different travel feels. No rushing through airports, no adjusting plans, no debates over where to eat. When you're single for a while, travel hits different. You're not rushing to fit someone else's plan. You're not negotiating every stop. You're not pretending to enjoy things you don't actually enjoy. You wake up when you want. You walk where your feet take you. You linger in places that speak to you. And yes, sometimes you sit longer simply because there's no one tapping your shoulder asking, "So, what's next?" Sometimes it's as simple as sitting on a bench longer than usual, taking an extra turn down a street just because it looks interesting, or stopping to read the menu outside a restaurant you'd normally walk past. You give yourself a moment without anyone pulling on you. You notice things you've ignored for years, how people live, how time moves differently outside your routine, how strangers don't expect anything from you. And you realize something powerful. Travel becomes less about the destination and more about remembering the man you are when nothing pulls on you. If any part of this spoke to you, tell me in the comments where you'd go if you could disappear for a weekend where no one needs anything from you. You start seeing the world through steady eyes, the way people live, the way time moves, the way small moments become the ones you remember most. And here's the part that changes you. When you travel alone, you meet parts of yourself you didn't know were still alive. The part that enjoys getting lost. The part that loves simplicity. The part that feels calm in unfamiliar places. The part that doesn't need permission to exist fully. Most men wait until retirement to feel this freedom. I know men in their 50s who told me the same thing. The first solo trip they took wasn't about adventure. It was about breathing without someone needing them every minute. But a single season gives it to you now, pure, honest, unfiltered. And once you taste that kind of freedom, you bring it home in practical ways, clearer decisions, fewer obligations you don't enjoy, and a calmer way of moving through your day. And freedom, once felt, never leaves you. Tomorrow, turn off your GPS and take a 20-minute walk with no destination. Let your feet choose the route and pay attention to how your mind feels when nothing pulls on you. The calm that makes a man powerful. This is where that ends. Emotional steadiness only appears after a man has lived long enough to understand his reactions instead of being ruled by them. There were years when you couldn't even hear your own reactions. Every room demanded something from you. Every day felt like you were adjusting yourself just to keep the peace, not slowing down, but choosing wisely. Here's where things get interesting. The calm of a single season isn't empty, it's productive. And in that stillness, something rare happens. You hear yourself without an interruption. Your decisions mature. And the funny part, you begin noticing how many things never needed your worry in the first place. You know the peace of coming home, sitting down, and realizing you don't have to match anyone else's mood. John told me once, I walked into my apartment and realized no one was upset. No one needed anything. Most older men eventually realize they don't need to react to everything. They only need to respond to what truly matters. He said, for the first time in years, the silence felt like it was on my side. That simple moment rebuilds more strength than most men realize. You speak slower, not because you're unsure, but because you know your words matter. You stop defending yourself in conversations that don't deserve your honesty. You choose your battles, not every disagreement. At this age, you look at some arguments and think, nope, not worth the calories. This is the confidence of a man who has lived long enough to understand that he doesn't need to dominate a room to influence it. Every man hits this stage. Some run from it, others rise with it. A man who rises with it discovers something profound. Take a moment later today and sit still for 15 minutes, doing nothing but observing what rises and falls inside you. And of course, not every day feels perfect. Balance comes in small moments, not overnight. Because this is what happens when a man finally stands with itself. People respect your presence differently. Opportunities feel easier. Problems look smaller. You become the kind of man who doesn't just handle life. You guide it. Half of adulthood is realizing the best way to win some arguments is simply not joining them. Your steadiness is not age, it's mastery. This calm isn't the end of your fire, it's the control of it. And a man who controls his fire controls the direction of his entire life. Up to this point, every chapter has pointed to one truth. Life gets easier when a man returns to himself. And the next part is where that return becomes unmistakable. The strength of living by your own standards. Ask yourself this: whose life have you been living in all these years? You've probably felt it more than once. That quiet moment when you look around and think, how did all this even become my life? Every man knows the pressure of being silently measured. There comes a point where you just stop playing along. Not dramatically, just quietly, inside yourself. It's the day you wake up and quietly think, whose life have I been ticking boxes for all this time? My friend Peter looked at his reflection one morning and said, I don't even know whose life I've been living. Then he shook his head and whispered, it sure wasn't mine. And without even noticing, you ended up carrying a silent pressure to achieve faster, earn more, fix everything, keep everyone stable, and never slip. Time alone has a way of showing you what actually matters, because when you stand alone for a while, something powerful happens. You stop chasing milestones you don't even want. Because this chapter isn't about calm or confidence, it's about finally choosing the standards that fit the man you've become. And when it clicks, you feel it, like something in you finally loosens. It's the same feeling as cleaning your garage and suddenly realizing you kept half that stuff for no reason. You stop saying yes out of habit and start saying yes because it genuinely fits the man you are now. Your standards begin to shift, quietly but unmistakably. And once they shift, you can't go back to living unconsciously. Men your age don't chase validation. You choose alignment. You start choosing depth instead of speed, quality instead of quantity, peace instead of performance. And here's the truth men don't say out loud. You don't need more achievements. You need a life that matches your values. And it's okay if you're still figuring out what those values look like today. Your values finally settle into what feels real for you today. This is where a single season becomes transformative. Your identity stops being shaped by demands and starts being shaped by intention. Most men don't need a dramatic turning point, just one honest moment with themselves. When you start living by your own standards, you walk differently, speak differently, decide differently. You're not harder, you're clearer. You're not rebellious, you're finally honest. And the world responds to that, because a man who knows his standards doesn't chase anything. He selects. Most guys only figure this out later, and maybe you're seeing it now too. Not running faster, not pushing harder, but choosing a life built on truth instead of pressure. And when a man lives by his own standards, everything around him rises to meet him. The fire that returns when life finally stops pulling you. They told you your fire was gone. They told you age took it from you. They were wrong. A man's fire never dies. It only gets buried under years of doing what needed to be done, not what truly called him. No wonder the flame dimmed. It was never given space to breathe. Every man has a fire inside him. You don't lose it with age. You just get better at hiding it under responsibilities. But life has a way of burying that fire under things that had nothing to do with who you were meant to become. Responsibilities here, expectations there, people depending on you more than you ever depended on yourself. Here's the part most men never say out loud. Your fire didn't die. It just got buried under years of tending to everything but yourself. A single season changes that. You're no longer stretching yourself thin, trying to keep everyone happy. You feel it in small ways first. When a man finally stands on his own for a while, his fire doesn't fade. It focuses. It points you back to the unfinished parts of your life, the things you were meant to build long before survival got in the way. Because every man reaches an age where he stops asking, "What do people expect from me?" and starts asking, "What do I still expect from myself?" The sudden urge to fix something in your home you've ignored for years, the excitement of starting a hobby you thought was too late to try, the way you wake up earlier not because you must, but because you want to. Here's where things get interesting. Once your fire comes back, it becomes selective. You stop giving your time to people who don't value it. Besides, some days you're not tired. You just don't want to pretend you care about the things you don't. You stop chasing things that don't align with the man you are becoming. This is maturity, not softness. You burn for purpose, for legacy, for freedom, for a life that finally feels like yours. This is the season where experience becomes power. Not loud power, not youthful intensity, the slow, exact fire of a man who finally knows where to aim his strength. Your fire never disappeared. It was pushed aside by survival, not erased. And now that you have, it's only going to burn stronger, clearer, and far more directed. A man doesn't lose himself in age. He loses himself in years spent serving everything except his own calling. And the moment you stop stretching yourself thin for everyone else, your real life starts. Because the man you're becoming refuses to shrink to fit old expectations. The quiet confidence of a man who doesn't need an audience. Let me tell you something you might recognize in yourself. Confidence isn't loud. It's the certainty of a man who knows exactly what he will and will not tolerate anymore. You spent years performing without even noticing, trying to be reliable, strong, composed. It's exhausting pretending to be unshakable when life is shaking you from every side. You notice it in the way a man carries himself. Direct decisions, clear boundaries, no second guessing. This is the kind of presence that forms when a man no longer performs for anyone. A clarity that shows in how he speaks, chooses, and turns down what doesn't belong in his life. Not from ego, not from validation, but from finally understanding who you are without interruption. Every man reaches a point where he stops asking, "Do they like me?" and starts asking, "Do I like this life I'm building?" And that question changes a man, because confidence grows the moment you stop negotiating your worth. That small shift changes more than you expect. It's like one day you stop caring who approves. And strangely, that's when everyone starts paying attention. Most men don't notice it happening until they feel different in the mirror. Confidence changes shape after 35. You trust your intuition more. You stop bargaining with your worth. It's the stage where you feel steady without having to act tough. You know that moment when you're alone in your car, windows down, listening to the music you actually love, and you feel more yourself than you have in years. That's confidence. Not the kind the world praises, but the kind that comes from finally backing your own judgment. And here's the truth most men never admit. You become a better man when you stop performing. People can feel when you are no longer trying to prove anything. The man you're becoming is finally catching up to the strength you've carried for years. Your choices become clearer, and people adjust to the standards you've actually lived, not the performance you used to maintain. You bring stability to your decisions, and that steadiness shapes the way others treat you. At your age, you don't ask for respect anymore. People read it in how you carry yourself. This kind of confidence isn't built by crowds. It's built in the quiet moments when you stand with yourself. And there's something else you might not give yourself credit for. Men your age aren't searching for approval, you're radiating experience. And that kind of confidence isn't loud, but it's unforgettable. The clarity that builds the next chapter of your life. Clarity shows up quietly, usually when you finally see your life without all the usual interference. You have lived years surrounded by demands, expectations, deadlines, obligations, the constant pressure to be on. Clarity can't survive in that kind of weather. Clarity doesn't come from silence. It comes from finally seeing the way your life actually fits together when you're not pushed in every direction. At first, it feels like peace. Then it becomes direction. Then it becomes certainty. It doesn't hit you all at once. It comes little by little. Then suddenly things just make sense. And sometimes clarity shows up in the most random way, like realizing you kept old emails you should have deleted 15 years ago. Most men don't need someone to guide them. They just need room to hear themselves again. When you spend time single for a while, the truth of your habits becomes impossible to ignore. Habits make sense. Choices align. Values surface. You ever clean out a drawer and find things you forgot you owned, and suddenly your whole room feels lighter? Bob, a 50-year-old CEO who looked like he had everything figured out, told me something that stopped me in my tracks. He said, "I opened a box I hadn't touched in a decade and realized half the things inside belonged to the man I used to be, not the man I am now." That's what happens inside you during the season. And that shift is quiet but unmistakable. When things start making sense again, a few things shift in your life. You choose relationships that feel peaceful, not dramatic. You protect your mornings more. You select friendships intentionally. You invest in things that match your future, not your past. This is where most men realize they are not lost. They were simply overcrowded. And freedom feels different when you have earned it the hard way. But it's also responsibility. When you see your life clearly, you stop outsourcing your happiness. You stop blaming circumstances. You stop repeating patterns that exhausted you. You respond differently now, not out of habit, but out of growth. And that shift is so quiet, most men only notice it when their life finally feels like it fits again. Solitude strengthens you, but connection keeps you human. The key is choosing both wisely. Because this clarity didn't arrive out of luck, it arrived because you have grown. This clarity isn't a reward. It's proof you've grown into a man who finally listens to the quiet truth inside him. And that truth is leading somewhere better than where you've been. The next part of your life won't be random. It'll be the result of seeing things clearly again. If you want more videos built for men in this quiet, powerful season of life, subscribe to Move or Die Stoic. Not for the channel, but for the man you are becoming. This is why men need to be single, at least for a while. Not to avoid love, not to escape responsibility, but to return to themselves, to remember their strength, to protect their fire, to regain their sense of direction, to choose a life that fits them, to rebuild their confidence, to become men who lead not from pressure, but from peace. This season doesn't make you colder, it makes you accurate. It doesn't shut your heart, it strengthens your center. Being single for a while gives you back the man you were always meant to be. And when this season ends, because it will, you won't walk into the world looking for completion. You will walk in already whole. Older men don't bloom early, they bloom correctly. And you are entering the chapter where life finally matches the strength you've earned. If you're in this season now, don't rush it. Stand with yourself, grow with yourself, rise with yourself, because a man who returns to himself returns to life stronger than ever. If this season feels like yours, don't just listen and move on. I'll meet you in the next chapter. Until then, stand firm with yourself.